My son's name is Anakin Thomas. Something I'd love to share about him is that his siblings still talk about him all the time.
Welcome to Still a Part of Us, a place where moms and dads share the story of their child who was stillborn or who died in infancy. I'm Winter.
And I'm Lee. We are grateful you joined us today. Please note that this is a story of loss and has triggers.
Thanks to our lost parents who are willing to be vulnerable and share their children with us.
If you're listening to this podcast, just know that on our YouTube channel there are pictures and videos that are related to the stories that are being shared.
Subscribe and share it with a friend that might need it and tell them to subscribe. Why? Because people need to know that even though our babies are no longer with us, they're still a part of us.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming and joining us. Today we're talking to Aaron about his wonderful son. I talked with Aaron a little bit beforehand. He is a fellow kinsman like me. We're the Italians. He told me that he played hockey and he was an enforcer of types. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Aaron. Let us know where you're at, what your family looks like, stuff that you like.
Yeah. So we're in Buffalo, New York. I have 3 living children. My oldest is 17 from a previous relationship, and then 2 together with my wife. Our daughter Riley, who is 8, and then my son Aaron Jr., who is 3. Not much, I work and I play some pool and take care of the kiddos.
Now, you mentioned that you were a mechanic.
Yes.
Does that mean you fix everybody else's cars and all your own car projects are on the back burner?
Oh yeah. My car's a mess. It's falling apart.
Who's got time when you got to fix others, right?
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Now, you say you have an older son, 17, right?
No, daughter, Casey.
Yep. I'm sorry. An older daughter. How does she just love being an older sibling?
Yes. Yeah.
Having just a little bit of an age gap between them, because our daughter Lucy is 6 years older than our son, and there's just that little bit of age gap that, she loves them and then they fight.
Yep. It's I just had to continue my family tradition. So I'm 9 years older than my brother, then my brother is 9 years older than my oldest, and then my oldest is about 9 years older than our next daughter. So we got like all the 9s.
Nine's a great number. Wonderful, wonderful. As a family, do you guys have any big traditions? Do you guys have big holiday traditions that you do? We're sort of coming up on holiday season, but
yeah, not really. We kind of tend to stick to ourselves.
Yeah.
We did a little bit more so before, but
yeah,
since loss and stuff, we kind of just shrunk our family unit.
It's sometimes good to focus on your immediate family. So, well, nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned to me how you met your wife. Would you like to tell other people how? First of all,
yeah. So like I said, I play pool. I enjoy billiards, and I used to play with her father. And then one day she started coming around the pool hall, and we started talking, and that was it. Almost 10 years ago we met in a pool hall.
Nice. I made the joke, you lost so much money to her, you might as well marry her. Get that money back.
She already had it, so.
Next logical step to get the money back. You can't beat her, marry her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, wonderful. Well, let's start talking about your son, Anakin.
Okay.
Was he planned? Were you guys trying to get pregnant? Let's talk about what was going on at the time.
Yeah, we were. AJ, the one just before him, was a year and a half. So we were trying to keep him close. This was going to be last baby type of thing. But yeah, we were definitely planning for him. He was right on schedule.
Right on schedule. Any problems conceiving? This is not to get too personal, but were you guys like one and done, or were you guys trying for a while, or?
So honestly, from previous experiences, we'd expected it to be a process, but it was a month or two that we were trying, and it just happened. It was actually pretty quick.
And not to complain about the trying, because that's the funnest part, but
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so sweet. How did the pregnancy go? Was it an easy pregnancy for your wife?
She's never had an easy one. My poor wife has the worst pregnancies. Not anything serious, just the morning sickness is usually awful. She really struggles. Like most people, it gets better, but the second, usually hers just keeps going. And it's, halfway through the second trimester when she finally starts to feel better. And then she just feels huge for the rest of the pregnancy. Yeah. So it's like one rough to another, but she's a champ. She's a trooper.
Oh, good. Any fun cravings that she got? Like I remember when Winter was pregnant, she would crave steak. And I'd make a steak, a beautiful, beautiful steak, and she'd have about 2 bites, and she's like, "Oh, I'm too full." I'm like, well, wonderful. I'm gonna have another steak for myself.
I'm trying to remember. I know she always craves the weirdest things. It's always like, the pickles and just things that normally she doesn't eat. But yeah, I can't think of anything specific. Yeah. Just weird things at weird times. Yeah.
Well, nice. Another thing, my wife she hated the smell of pork products. So if I ever had bacon or anything, she was just like, "Oh, you gotta get that out of here." And I made this beautiful pork roast, and I'd spent all day. And she walked into the door, and this was the first time we found out that she had an aversion to the pork products. And she was just like, "Oh, what is the matter? What?" And I was like, "What do I do with this pork? Because I can't eat it. Because then I smell like the pork." So we're cutting it up and giving it to all of our friends. We're like, "Oh, come eat this pork." So the weirdness of pregnancy, right?
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Now your wife struggling first, second trimester with morning sickness, but was the pregnancy a healthy pregnancy at the time, or you guys go?
All the ultrasounds and stuff, everything was looking great. We did all the fetal testing and everything looked good.
Yeah. Anatomy scan came back, 10 fingers, 10 toes, everything looked good.
Yep.
Did you guys find out the gender at the time?
We did. Yeah. Yeah. We like to be prepared.
You like to be prepared. If you have to buy more clothes or if you have to do all that fun jazz. Did you guys have any fun baby reveal parties or anything like that?
We're the worst. We can't hold on to a secret. We need to know now. And it's like, we're literally leaving the appointment, letting all the close friends and family know, like, it's a boy, blah, blah, we can't keep a secret.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. We never did any of those big, blow up a helium balloon stuff. But I'm boring myself. So, well, wonderful.
Right.
Let's talk about further on in the pregnancy. Everything going well? You're able to help do all that fun jazz?
Oh yeah. Yep. I went with her to as many appointments as I could, and basically trying to pick up the slack so she could just kind of relax towards the end as she was, getting ready. But yeah, everything was great. All the, no problems.
Yeah. Now, sort of to clarify, how long ago was this?
He was born June 20th of 2023. So 2 years.
Yeah.
2.5 years almost.
Okay, so 2.5 years, 3 years ago, sort of in the middle of COVID, right?
It was the tail end. It was
the tail end.
Yeah.
There was some restrictions, but not too many at the time, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think we were even maybe done with mask. I don't remember masking for it.
Yeah.
So it was like it had just kind of wrapped up.
Yeah. It's so weird. I've completely forgotten about like timeline of that whole thing. I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Our living son AJ was 21, and that one I remember
oh
masks,
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was,
The whole
you know,
she's
she's pushing out a baby and they're telling her to pull her mask up, and I'm just like, are you guys serious right now? Like
yeah.
that's your concern?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with Anakin, I don't think there was any real restrictions. It was pretty much kind of back to normal.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. So let's continue on. Coming into final stage. All looking good. You
Yep.
getting all your ducks
Yep.
lined up in a row for work. Hey, this is coming up.
Yep.
Let's talk about how that's going.
We were, pretty much prepared. We were, well, sort of. I mean, we did. I was just getting to the point where we were figuring out like where we setting the crib up, and what rooms are getting shuffled around, and those like final preparations.
Yeah, this pile needs to find a new home for this pile.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so you're figuring it out. It's going okay, but you're figuring it out. You're starting to I guess the term is nest. You're starting to nest.
Yep.
And let's continue on. What
All right. So yeah, I mean, she was 34 weeks in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
I had come home from work the one day, and she was just super uncomfortable.
Oh. Okay.
Back pain, and more severe than just like the regular pregnancy, but really not anything that was like alarming. We weren't like whatever. It was just basically I told her,
you're pregnant,
eat some dinner, go lay down, go to bed. I'll take care of the kids, get them to bed, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's basically what she did. She, of course, it's pregnancy, so like you can't even really take anything for it. So she just kind of suffered through it. She's like, I'm going to go lay down. And I was like, all right, lay down. If you're still, having issues overnight, wake me up or whatever. She was having a rough night, but again, nothing outrageous. And then in the morning, it was still bad. She's like, my back has never hurt like this. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I took kids to, daycare and school, got everybody settled. And then we went down. I think she might've called the OB, and they actually had us go to not the hospital we would have delivered at, but another one in the area, because they have a NICU, and being that she was only like just over 34 weeks, they wanted us to go there. And we actually got there, and they're like, oh, this is back labor, which she had never experienced before. But they're like, you're in labor. This baby's coming today.
Oh, okay. And you're at 34 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So considered almost, is 34 weeks full term, or is it?
I think
preemie?
36. I think it's preemie, but not like super severe.
Yeah.
I believe it's 36 or 37 that's considered full term. And so we're just a little early.
Just a little bit early. How are you feeling? Are you scared? Are you like concerned? Are you like, hey, we're gonna have a baby and we'll figure it out?
Honestly, I don't think either of us were too concerned at that point. When we had Riley, she was 37 weeks, spent like a week or so, 10 days maybe in the NICU. So like we'd kind of seen all the aspects. We felt fairly comfortable with, having a baby a little early, spending some time in the NICU, and it's
you've done it before. You could do it again, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so she's having back labor. Do they bring her right in, set her up, or?
Yep, they basically sent us right over. Set us up with a room and said, you'll be here till there's a baby.
Oh, there's a baby. And so you had to call everybody. You have your kids at daycare. You have to call.
Yep.
Somebody to pick them up.
Had to call Grandpa. Yep, I had Grandpa figuring all that out, and then I was playing the game of like, we're in a room and I'm watching the clock, and I'm like, all right, so you think she's going to deliver in the next hour? Do I have time to go run, pick one up, take him home, and I'll shoot back? Because I mean, Buffalo's not huge. From anywhere to anywhere is 20-25 minute drive. I'm like, I could get there and back in like 45 minutes, and that's actually what ended up happening. Is the nurses were like, yeah, nothing's going to happen in the next hour here. So I ended up actually leaving for a little bit, picking up AJ from daycare, took him back home. Grandpa was there. So Riley had gotten home from school. I had him. So we knew at least that we were covered with the kids at that point.
Yeah.
And then I went back up there with her.
Okay. So you said 45 minutes or so to run, pick up the kid, drop off. Maybe
Yep.
got yourself some lunch or something.
I don't even think I did. I might have grabbed a drink. That was about
Yeah.
it.
Blazing through traffic. So
Yeah.
you get back progressing. Had
Yep.
the labors.
Yep. Everything was going well. I want to say when I got back, she might have been like 7 centimeters. She was,
Okay.
I think, 4 when I left, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. I know she was about 7 when I got back, though. It was
Yeah.
still, at that point, we were watching the clock because shift change was at 7 o'clock. So it was like, is it going to be before all these nurses change, or do we have to deal with a brand new set of people that, which it did. It would end up being after shift change. So those nurses all left and new people came in before he was born.
Some fresh faces for you. So,
Yep.
I've never been pregnant, and I've only watched my wife in pregnancy. But was she taking it like a champ? Was she?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. She was trying to put off getting the epidural because they don't want to do it until a certain point.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of, but again, she was like, it really hasn't gotten that much worse since what I was feeling last night. So,
Okay.
It was.
So yeah, you're just in a room, watching the clock, trying to place if it's coming before midnight, coming after midnight. When's the birthday?
Yep.
Had you guys discussed the name? Have you been calling your child
Yes.
Anakin for a while? So.
Yep. Since about the anatomy scan.
Yeah. Well, nice. So little Anakin's on his way. I'm as a man, I'm sure you're a little scared. Not scared, but there's some jitters and fears. Like, are we ready? Everything that a man thinks about.
Yep.
But so let's continue on with the pregnancy. What's going on?
So I'm going to mess up times and stuff, but
Yeah.
I want to say it was about 10 o'clock. And that's when we finally got to meet Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
He was, oh boy, I should have wrote stuff down. He was big for 34 weeks. He was like, I want to say like 5 pounds, 11 ounces.
Oh yeah.
So he was a big boy. I got to cut the cord and we got to hold him. Well, she got to hold him for a few minutes and then they were taking him up to the NICU.
Okay. He looked good being delivered. No
Yes.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, everything went great. He looked awesome. He was screaming. Just the perfect delivery.
All right. And your wife is doing well?
Yep.
She's healthy and all that?
Yep. Everything was good. I want to say maybe an hour and a half later, we were up in the NICU together, seeing him up there. Once they got him settled and her all settled.
Yeah.
And but yeah, everybody was doing great.
Okay. Well, nice. And so you're settling down for a couple days in the hospital, or maybe a day or two in the hospital for recovery. Had they talked to you about what Anakin would do in the NICU? Maybe 2 weeks?
Yeah. Well, they told us to plan for him to come home around his due date. So they were saying, up to maybe 6 weeks. But they said that's like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
They said, realistically, it might be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but to plan up to the due date.
Okay. So you guys had a plan in action. How were you feeling? Were you, because your other child was in the NICU for a little bit.
Right.
Old hat, you know how to do this.
Yeah. I mean, we were just kind of like, all right, cool. Like you said, we've been through this before. Like it's not, it's never fun, especially like when you get to where mom's getting released and you're supposed to go home and like the baby's not ready to go home yet. It's terrifying and nerve wracking but
you're
it wasn't,
your baby somewhere.
Right. but it was like, we were still pretty relaxed at that point. We're just like, we've done the NICU thing. Like, this is fine. Yeah. We were comfortable at that point.
Okay. Continue on, I guess.
Yeah. So, I want to say it was the second day Mom got released. So we were now playing the game of like, we would go home to sleep, get up in the morning, get the kids where they had to go. And then we'd go up, hang out with Anakin. And then in the afternoon, for the most part, both of us would leave or one of us would leave, take care of the kids, get them fed dinner, whatever.
Yeah.
And then have Grandpa come over at night, stay with the kids, and we'd head back up. Yeah. So we were able to see him, as much as we could throughout the day. Let's see. So that was, for a day or two like that. I think it was the his fourth day of being alive. I had ended up staying home with the kids during the day, and my wife went up, or actually it was the evening, and my wife went up, to go see him. And she came home from that, and she was like, I don't really know, like, what this means. She's like, but they had her change a diaper. And anybody that's ever changed a baby's diaper, they don't like it. There's usually screaming and, fussing. She changed his diaper and he just kind of laid there. So she came home and told me about it. And she's like, it was real strange. I don't know what was going on, but like, he didn't really respond.
Okay.
She had mentioned it to the nurse, and the nurse was like, yeah, I saw it too. And she had told my wife that she would let the doctor know and just kind of keep an eye on it, see what was going on, why he was, because previous days he had been very responsive when we were changing a diaper. Okay. So this was the first time it was a lot different than what we had seen before.
Yeah, just enough different.
Right. Yeah. And so then I'm trying to remember. It all gets a little fuzzy because it kind of got crazy from there for us. I want to say it was the next day we were up there and they like went to change an IV or put in a new IV, and it was the same thing. Like he didn't cry, he didn't fuss. Finally, a doctor had come in to talk to us, and like at the early stages, they didn't really know. Like she told us that it looked like perhaps he had gotten a virus, but they weren't sure. And we didn't know what any of it meant. Like they tell you that your baby has a virus. You're like, okay, so like give them medicine. Like, it's 2023 at the time. Like, okay, cool. Like, so what do we do now? Yeah. And then, just kind of kept speeding up. So like it was that, and then they were running tests and his platelets were low. And again, they didn't know, like they said it seemed viral, but they couldn't tell us what virus. Yeah. So like they were, they asked us if either of us had like cold sores because maybe it was that virus, which we didn't. And then it was kind of just like, we're sitting there freaking out, kind of blaming ourselves, probably my wife more so than me. Like, could she have been sick and given it to the baby and didn't even know? Yeah. But so it kind of it was like one thing after another. Then it was like his platelets were low. Then they said his liver was being affected, but we didn't really know what that meant. And then, by the next day he's in liver failure. And I remember just asking her when she told us he was in liver failure, I was like, what does that even mean? Like, is that something you can come back from? Or like, are we looking for a like, I have no idea what that even means for a 7-day-old baby to be in liver failure. Like it didn't even make sense to me. And they were, obviously along the way giving him everything they could. They were giving him platelets and partial blood and whatever, the medication that was supposed to fight the virus. I mean, they were just loading him up with whatever they possibly could.
And he's at, you said 7 days old now.
Yeah, go ahead.
And, 7 days old, being 35 weeks, like, a week old after being born at 34 weeks, he's still just a little guy, right? The body's trying to, the body's just trying to be, so, I bet that's taking it out of you.
Yeah. And, not sleeping. And I was still in this process of running around trying to, everybody else still had to go to school, go to daycare, so it was crazy. It was a crazy week.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, did they explain the liver failure more to you, or?
I mean, they explained like what it means medically. Um, and then this is where like I've heard other people say like my wife and I remember it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Just little small details.
Oh yeah.
If you were to talk to my wife, she would tell you that she got the impression from the doctor at this point that things were bad. Like she remembers the doctor saying a lot of times when a baby gets this sick, they don't get better. And just a slight difference. The way I understood it was like sometimes they don't get better, but like we're going to do everything we can, which
Yeah.
it kind of sounds the same, but like I had a way more optimistic outlook at this point. And I think she was a little bit more preparing herself for, what ultimately was coming. And I was just like 100%, he's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. Like, until the last second, I was just like,
Yeah. And
I don't know.
You're an optimistic guy, and of course you want the best. Not to say that your wife's pessimistic, but just
right.
More.
Yeah.
More. I'm so sorry.
Thank
so
you.
Anakin's going through so much. He's sick. His liver's failing. They're trying the best they can to help him. What happens?
Yes. So it was his seventh day, and they came in. I don't know, in the midday part, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something,
Right.
and they were like, "Hey, just so you know, we're getting a suite ready down the hall for you guys, so that you don't have to be running home. You can stay here. You can stay here for the night and get some sleep, whatever." And I had no idea that this was a bad sign. In my mind, I was like, wow, we're going to be here for a long time if they're like going to give us a room down the hall, like I just, yeah. So they prepared a suite for us. We went home and did dinner time that day, or at least I did. I honestly can't remember if my wife came with me. No, she did. We both came home, got everybody to bed. And then we talked to my father-in-law, her dad, and we were like, listen, they're preparing us a suite, so we're going to probably be spending as much time down there with them as we can, whatever. And he was like, all right, sounds good. He's like, I can handle whatever the kids need for a little bit here. So like, I mean, we hadn't eaten in forever.
Yeah.
It was like a sporadic. So we stopped and we got some food, went to the suite and tried to eat some kind of dinner for ourselves. And then we were like, all right, let's head back over to the NICU and see what's going on. So we went over there. Like I said, it was probably 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And we're in there. Again, there was a lot going on, but there wasn't like much that we could do. There wasn't a lot for us to, it was just kind of like, they're coming in, they're doing different infusions and changing IVs. But like, at this point, there were so many tubes and wires, it wasn't like we could really even like pick them up and hold them. So it was kind of just sitting there in a room with them and being hopeful.
Yeah.
It was, so at some point they came in and they're like, listen, it's getting late. We know you guys are like always here. You just try and go get some sleep, go to the suite, just relax, just take a little time for yourselves. So we did that. We left there at, I don't know, maybe 9:30 at night. We went over, it was literally like a couple 100 feet away down the hall around the corner. And that's where they had a room for us.
So yeah, not far.
We went there. Yeah, no, like, I mean, a 30-second walk down the hall. It was like right there. So we're like, okay, we'd fallen asleep in the chair. We're like, all right, we'll go try to catch a few minutes of sleep, whatever.
Right.
So we went over to the suite, and we actually did end up falling asleep or passing out, whatever you want to call it. We were exhausted. I want to say it was probably around 1 o'clock in the morning, and the room phone rings.
Okay.
And I answer it, and they said, you guys should probably really head back over.
Oh no.
And so we come around the corner, and as we're rounding the corner to go back to his room, I can just see there's like a flood of people just out in the hall. People are trying to get into the room, all, doctors, nurses, whatever. And they have this like huge machine. Um, which later we learned that it was an oscillatory vent. It's a really strong ventilator that moves air really fast.
Oh, okay.
So what had been happening is with the liver issues and the platelets and everything else he had going on, he wasn't getting enough oxygen.
Uh-huh.
So the regular ventilator, they kept turning it up, and they just couldn't get it high enough to keep his oxygen up.
Right.
So we get there, and they're trying to explain it to us like in simple terms. They're explaining like,
Yeah.
it looks scary, but it's really just a big ventilator. It makes a lot of noise, but it's really effective, and it's like kind of their last effort, to try to help him.
Oh.
So they switch it out, and that was like the last, I don't know, the last hour or so. They would turn the vent on, and it'd be working for a second, but then like some of the things that haunt me is I would watch his blood start to flow back through the tube of the ventilator because he didn't clot. So anything that started to bleed would just like keep bleeding.
Yeah,
so
you're just bleeding.
I would see it, going up the tube of the ventilator, and then they'd stop it for a minute and they'd give him epinephrine and try again. And it was, it was just bad. They very quickly after that, they asked us, if basically if we wanted like extraordinary measures, if they wanted them to keep trying, or they, if his heart stops, do you want us to attempt to resuscitate him, type of thing.
Yeah.
And we said yes, So they were working on him for a while. I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. And they turned around and they said, do you want us to keep going? And we just kind of looked at him, and like I looked at her, and I looked back at that, and I was like, I mean, well, we don't want to give up, like.
Yeah.
So I guess, so they kept, again, epinephrine, and I think they did that 6 or 7 times, which is supposed to like cause the bleeding to stop. It constricts the blood vessels so that they stop bleeding, because he was bleeding from his lungs. It was, I can't think of the word right now, but a hemorrhage in the lungs is what was happening with this ventilator and him not being able to clot and all the factors that were stacked against him. So they kept going for another 10 minutes or so. And they asked us again, they're like, we'll keep going as long as you guys want, but like, do you want us to keep going? And I just said, well, like, what's our other option? Because I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. And they were like, well, the other option is you hold him until he's gone.
Oh.
And I remember turning to my wife, and I had no words. She ended up eventually saying like, yeah, we want to hold him.
Yeah. I'm sure you felt broadsided by this whole, as we talked about before, you had this optimistic, like, yeah, he'll get better. He'll get, the liver will get fixed. We'll, these things will happen and he'll be okay. And did they talk to you beforehand, like end of life possibilities? Or was it just here at the time? Like, hey, it's happening.
Not like directly. Like there was never, no. Yeah. Like I said, there were some comments over the time, like, some babies that get this sick don't get better, but there was never like
this is happening.
At least with me, I never personally had a conversation with anybody like, you should be prepared. Like this is the way it's, there was never, anything like that.
Oh.
And I mean, I look back and I ask myself, like, did I just miss things that were said or, but I think my wife would agree with me that I don't think we had a clue that this was coming, let alone that quickly. Yeah. It was just crazy.
So you guys, after how long did you think they tried to stem the bleeding, continue the life support?
I mean, it had to be 30 or 45 minutes from when we got to the room and they were rolling that in.
Yeah.
And then, the shots of epinephrine and turning it back on and back. And I mean, I watched him turn blue multiple times and then kind of come back, so to speak. But like, it had to be 45 minutes of the absolute chaos though.
Oh. And after this 45, I'm sure it's just such heartbreaking sadness for you and your wife. You guys decide to hold him, or or
Yeah.
how
They
did you
basically
know?
said our other option was, well, like it's so sorry. When I asked them, they said, well, the other option would be, for you guys to hold him till he's gone,
Yeah.
essentially. And when we agreed to that, they basically just took everything that was quickly removable off. So disconnected IVs, they left the cannula on him, but took the breathing machine off. And then they just had like the little handbag. So there was a nurse with us breathing for him while we took turns holding him. And that was, I don't know, we probably held him for, I don't know. I would say she probably had him for a half hour after that, and we passed him back and forth a couple times, but maybe another hour after the machine was done. And then they, at some point, just confirmed that he was indeed gone.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, Aaron.
Thank you.
That the time you were holding him and with him, I'm emotions must have been so raw and so hard to understand. Were you guys able to say goodbye
Yeah.
to Anakin? Were you guys able to do what you
Yeah.
wanted with him?
We talked to him, and I mean, it was just a lot of crying and apologizing to him that he couldn't stay.
Yeah.
Telling him about his siblings and just loving on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. And you said you got to hold him for about an hour. Did you get to?
Yep.
Because in the NICU, you're not really. You said you weren't really able to hold him or just mostly touch him. How did he feel in your
Yep.
arms?
Well, so the first couple days, so like when he was like 2 days old, she held him for a few hours, and then it's crazy how memories work when you're looking back on a time like this. But
Oh yeah.
there's a picture of me holding him at maybe 3 days old. I don't remember it ever happening,
Yeah.
but I know that it did because I have a picture of it. So like I said, we did get to, in those 8 short days, we did as much as we were able to do with him as far as holding him. But
Yeah.
once he was actually gone, I went really quickly from sad to angry. I hated everything. So like they offered us, they were like, you can stay and give him a bath and dress him and all these fantastic things, and I couldn't. I told my wife, I was like, I just wanted to burn the whole world down. I was like, it doesn't even make sense. I was like, I need to leave. Like I can't afford any of these things to smash. Like I need to go. And I asked her, I was like, do you want to stay? Do you want me to go take a walk and come back? And she was like, no, we should go. Realistically, I know she would have liked to stay longer.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be alive in that room anymore without him there.
Yeah. And it's such a here you are a father having to deal with this no man should have to bury his child. We've all heard that before. No man should have to bury his child. And here you are fighting all these emotions and trying to understand yourself in the situation. So I'm so sorry, Aaron. It just the whole situation
Thank you.
is just so sad, and I'm sorry. So you guys hold him for the last time, and then what do you guys do?
Well, so they end up telling us, you're going to need to make arrangements and funeral home, that kind of thing, which that's one thing that we were kind of lucky on. My father-in-law is a landscaper by profession, and he takes care of funeral homes in our area. So we already knew
you knew
like
them all.
exactly who we were calling for that. Right. So as much as it sucks, it was one thing less that we had to worry about because we knew, I mean, I don't know, a couple years previously, my wife's grandfather had passed away. So like we knew the funeral home. We've met the funeral home director. It's somebody, you know, I would almost say a family friend. So it was one less thing in all the chaos we weren't flipping through the yellow pages trying to figure out. It was at least one small thing that we knew what to do.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, at least I know who I have to contact and what I have to do. We got home that morning at like 3:30, and I think it was 9:30 in the morning. We had an appointment with the funeral home to make the arrangements. Like it was 6 hours later.
And sometimes there's that focus that I have to do something, and you have that focus to do it. So
Yes. Yeah.
And how did that meeting go? How did that?
It was brutal.
Here you are, 30, 35, 36 years old, having to talk about plans.
And even for the funeral people, like it's not a standard situation. No. So like he's asking us, you know, do you want this? Do you want that? And we're like, well, what do people usually do? And he's like, I don't know. Like this doesn't usually happen. So a lot of it was just kind of, you know, figuring it out as we went. We knew we didn't want to bury him. We knew that we wanted to go with cremation.
Okay.
You know, that was something we talked about briefly at some point after he had passed, and it wasn't even a debate. We were on the same page. I said I was thinking this. She agreed. It was just it was, you know. So we go. You know, we went to the meeting, and my father-in-law came with us, and like. I remember at that meeting, he's going through, you know, we'll do this. At the end, you'll get the death certificate. And like, it just hit me in that meeting. I was like, we're literally going to have a death certificate before we've gotten the birth certificate.
Yeah.
Because they typically mail those. Like, you don't see the birth certificate for a few weeks or a month, whatever. And it was just so absurd. Like, I couldn't help but laugh in that moment at how unbelievable the situation was.
Yeah.
You know,
the macabre humor of the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. It like broke my brain for a second. Like it doesn't even make sense. It was just
it's just
wild.
Unfathomable. It is unfathomable. So you guys decided to cremate your son.
Absolutely.
Did you guys have like a memorial for him, or did you guys?
Yeah, we did. We had like you know, the little viewing, and then we had we called it like a celebration of life, but we had I don't know what he actually. We're not overly religious. I mean, we got married in a church, but like we don't go to a church weekly or anything.
Yeah.
So they said they had like I think they called them a pastor that could come in and just say, you know, a little. It wasn't like a whole mass, but it was like maybe a 20-minute celebration of life for him. Yeah. So we did that right at the funeral home.
Oh, that's nice. Was it just close family and friends, or did you open it up to neighbors and stuff like that?
We made sure the people that we wanted to be there knew about it, and then we just kind of posted it, and it was like, if people show up, they show up. If not, you know. So all of our like immediate friends group was there. Most of our family showed up. A couple weird ones, you know, my wife's like boss and her boss's boss showed up. We weren't really expecting them to be there, but it was nice to see that people, you know, obviously I think there had been an email sent out at her work. And so there were some unexpected people that it was kind of cool to see people, you know, caring and showing up for us like that.
Very, very generous of them, like emotionally generous of them to show support. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful little celebration of life for your son. Did you get to stand up and say anything, or?
Yep.
I spoke at my.
I didn't. Yeah.
I have no clue what I said.
I couldn't. Exactly. I was like, I don't. You know, they offered us that in the planning, and I was just like, no. You know, let the pastor say what he's going to say, and could barely form a sentence at that point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have since then. I've done a couple of these, like the October 15th,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
Wave of Light things. I did a little speech. I read a poem in his memory. I
Mm-hmm.
think last year. So I try to do stuff like that for him where I can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. The continuation of parenting, right? You know, you're a father. You're his father. So.
right,
Um.
yeah.
The end of the celebration. Were you? What? How long did it take to get his ashes back? Was it a pretty quick turnaround, or?
So because of when everything fell, we had to move his celebration back a couple days because it was 4th of July weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I
Yeah.
mean he was June 28th. So then it was like by the time
Yeah.
so we had to put so they actually had everything ready. I mean it was like his actual urn was on display
Oh.
for this the service, and then
Yeah.
we took it with us like right away. So it was all
Ah.
there was no wait.
Yeah. And that's actually I'm sure that was nice. You were able to have him with you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
How did you guys? You know, the first couple months were just such a gray blur for me. We did have a daughter that we still, you know, she we needed to keep her alive too. So we did our best to be functioning parents for her, but it was impossible to function fully. How was it for you and your wife?
Yeah. I mean it was hard, but we kind of we developed like we kind of took turns.
Yeah.
So, at the beginning, I kind of, just stepped up and did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went back to work like within a week.
Yeah.
Basically, he passed, we had the service, and then I believe like the next Monday, I was back to work.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of the physical. I was
Mm-hmm.
taking the kids and just trying to give her space to,
Yeah.
put herself back together enough to function. Unfortunately, I personally was just trying to stuff everything down. I was just like, let's just bury this. I have things to do. I have work to go to. Yeah, just pack it in.
Yeah.
Which
If you don't address it, it will go away
one wasn't
eventually.
great for me, but more importantly, exactly that was my goal. It didn't work out that way, and it definitely was not helpful for her at all. I mean, my physically taking care of things might have been helpful, but I was not there for her emotionally. I was just a shell. I was just a body doing things.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything. It was a rough time.
Were you able to improve, I guess? I guess not improve, but were you able to figure out how to be there?
Yeah, it took time.
Yeah.
It took some time, and then let's see. So June, I want to say like November was probably my rock bottom. I was
Yeah.
really struggling.
Yeah.
Just kind of living a little out of control.
Yeah.
And then I, started looking into therapy and figuring out, what was
Yeah.
available. It was actually at that point I had reached out. So when we lost him that day, the hospital told us they made like hand and foot molds,
Mm-hmm.
or they took the impressions, but they didn't make them. And they
Right.
said that the person that did that would be in, she was on vacation or whatever.
Okay.
So they said, give us a call in a week or whatever. We'll have them here for you. Well, we never did that.
Yeah.
We both just kind of went home, and it was,
You forget
back
about it,
burnered. Yeah. So it was about 7 months later, 6 or 7 months later, that I finally called the hospital, and I was
Mhm.
like, listen, I just called the NICU because I didn't know who else to
Yeah.
call. I was like, I got a weird question for you. Like, we lost our son. They were supposed to do these. I just wondered if maybe they were still around. And I'm thinking, like, there's no chance. 7 months
Yeah,
later, like
7
they're
months.
gone. I was sure of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell my wife about it. It was just an independent project. And
Right.
I got a hold of the coordinator of perinatal bereavement whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
With the hospital. And she's like, actually, I have them. They're sitting right here in my drawer. Like, you can come pick them up. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But actually, she had my wife's phone number on file from when we had the loss.
Right.
So she actually called my wife and left her a voicemail saying, hey, I have those that you guys were looking for. So she calls me and goes, what is this lady talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I just got a call from the hospital. And I'm like, I probably should have let you know what I was doing, but this is what they are. Like, is this cool? And she was like, absolutely, go get them. And then through her is how I got, first I joined a brief parents group that the hospital does once a month. I went to that for a couple months. Then I ended up asking her if because she mentioned it at one of the groups that she does like one-on-one. And so I started meeting with her and then doing the EMDR therapy.
Yeah.
And that was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just like you, Aaron. I, try to tamp it down, deal with it myself, but I went to therapy and just unpacking it with somebody who is a good guide and somebody who can just like, they care about me, but they're not my friend. They're somebody who's there to guide you through the crap. They're there to guide you and help you. And yeah. I'm so glad you were able to go and work with a therapist who helped you. I'm assuming she helped you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but how are you doing now? This is 3 years out, right? 2003, right? We're 2.5 years out.
Yeah, it's about 2.5.
2.5 years out. You're
Yep.
it's still fresh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's days that are good and some days that are bad. But how are you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, doing pretty good at this point. Definitely more good days than bad. There's definitely days here and there where it's just, you just get a little stuck in your feels, and it's just, kind of that feeling you can't shake. It's just, but I've found that, being able to talk about him helps, being able to keep him here, being able to, see my other children, including him. My 8-year-old has drawn some pictures, and I'll ask her about who's all these people in this family picture, and it's, well, this is grandpa and mommy and daddy, and and she'll add him into her little pictures, usually in me or mommy's arms. But those little moments of like them, they're the best.
Yeah, those little things that, stinking kids. They're just the best sometimes. The best.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It really, because my kids do that too. They'll draw pictures and you're just like, oh, they love their brother. They love their brother, and I know their brother loves them. So, yeah.
Yeah. We got a whole a spot for him on the living room wall. I took those little hand and foot molds and I made a little shadow box. Feathers and a little jar of his hair and stuff. So he's always here. It's like in this house he will always be remembered.
Yeah.
No matter how long it's been. So
he's your son, and he'll always be your son.
Yeah.
Aaron, is there anything, as we're wrapping up this episode, is there anything else that you would like to share about Anakin?
I guess just one thing that I've kind of fell into that I think is pretty cool is signs. I don't remember how quick it started, but ever since losing him, my wife always sees 222.
Okay.
Everywhere. We'll be looking up an address to somewhere that we're going to go, and it'll be 222, or looking at the clock at 222. And then the more you look for it, the more you see it, and the more it's just one little thing to bring a smile to your face. And for me, it's been feathers. I mean, I'll be in a building, in an auto shop, all the doors are closed, and there will just be a random feather somewhere that I've been working all day, I have a couple of them. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but
Oh
in my
yeah,
phone case,
yeah, yeah.
because I find them everywhere. You know,
Oh,
I've come out of work and there will be a feather like on the running board of my truck, and I'm like, how does it even stay there?
yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And like to me, that's him. That's him saying hi.
Ah,
So
that is
that's something that we kind of hold on to.
yeah. That is such a wonderful thing to look for because he is there. He is in everything you do. So, wow. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for sharing that. Thank you for coming
Absolutely.
and sharing the love you have for your son, Anakin.
Thank you.